Oh, we did that here today. I was talking with my wife the other evening. I said, you know, we probably need to get us a few more horses because if Romney wins, we may be able to sell some of them to the Army. I'm sure you all watched the debates the other night. A couple things coming up. One of the things we've been working on is the lawsuit on the Alt case over in Hardy County. The Alts raise chickens over there. They produce about 1 million chickens a year, have 8 chicken houses. The EPA claimed that they were polluting the waters of the state and that they made it necessary for them to get an NPDES permit. They are a very clean operation. They have a litter storage shed. They even have a paved parking lot where they put the litter trucks to haul the litter out. They have a buffer zone around their poultry houses, and the EPA claiming that the dust and the dander could be causing water pollution. They threaten to fine $37,500 a day if they fail to get an NPDES permit. We're supporting their case, supplying the funds for the case. Farm Bureau was able to become an intervener in the case along with the American Farm Bureau. The EPA fought that tooth and nail. Doddridge County donated to our legal defense fund. We appreciate that. And it's kind of a precedent-setting case over there. Anymore dealing with the government, it's hard to figure out all the agencies. You got the NRCS and the FSA and the DEP and the DOT, and they always talk in these terms. You know, they don't describe full. They always talk in letters rather than terms. It's hard to understand what people are talking about. One of these agency people was in a restaurant and they were ordering lunch, and the waitress said, "What will you have?" And he said, "I want a BLT&T." And she said, "Well, what's a BLT&T?" And he said, "Well, that's a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, not toasted." She said, "Okay." Brought him a sandwich, came back about 15 minutes later and said, "How was your sandwich?" He said it was SOB. She said, "What do you mean your sandwich was SOB?" He said it was soggy on the bottom. She said, "That's just tough SHIT." He said, "What do you mean?" You should have had it toasted. Another concern we've had is the state tax department has determined that a well site for a Marcellus well, which is about 5 or 6 acres, would be considered commercial property, and it should be taxed at a commercial property valuation and at Class 3 rate. And the person responsible to pay those taxes would be the surface owner. And as you all know, a lot of people don't own the minerals, only own the surface, and you would get stuck for the taxes on the well pad. We met with the state tax commissioner, a representative from their office. We've also met with the Assessors Association and expressed that we don't feel this is fair. The Assessors Association doesn't feel it's fair. And I think that the state tax department's starting to understand what's going on. It should be the person drilling the well or the company benefiting directly from the well be responsible to pay the taxes. You don't have to pay property taxes if you have a cell tower or if you have a windmill, but this is something different. You know, years ago, everybody had an outhouse. And, this fellow was going to go away for a week and told his son, he said, "Look, son," he said, "I've got one thing I want you to do while I'm gone." He said, "The outhouse pit is full, and you need to dig a new pit and move the outhouse over on the new pit." He said, "Do you think he can complete this job by next Saturday?" And his son said, "Yeah, he can get it done." Well, his dad left town, and the son kind of dinged around till Thursday, didn't have anything done, getting a little panicky. Saw these guys core drilling for coal, and he got a hold of them and said, "Could you guys come over here and core drill a new outhouse pit?" And they said, "Sure." Well, they came over and drilled a pit about 100 feet deep, took their dozer, slid the outhouse over on it, made a fine job. Saturday morning, his dad came home and said, "Son, I'm proud of you." He said, "You completed your work." He said, "You seen your grandfather?" He said, "No, you hadn't seen him." Well, they looked in the house and couldn't find him, and they looked in the Lauren couldn't find him. The last place he decided to look was in the outhouse, and he was sitting there dead. His dad said, you know, I can't understand why he would have died in the outhouse like this. And his son said, well, Dad, he said, you remember how Gramps always used to hold his breath till he heard it hit? That perception. Now, one thing I'd like to mention, we've got a lot of services out there. Nationwide Insurance has been a great service for us. Anybody that's a Farm Bureau member as a homeowner or a farm owner or an auto policy gets a 7% discount for being a Farm Bureau member. We've got discounts on hotels, and we used to be with Dodge, and now we're with General Motors. If you're a Farm Bureau member and you buy a new General Motors vehicle, everything but a Cadillac, I think the only person that would affect would be Charlie Wellington. But he drives an old Ford Fiesta. Anybody Cadillac, you can get a $500 discount, and if you're a farmer and you file a Schedule F, you can get an additional $500 to $1,000 worth of options free of cost on your vehicle.
Does that include the Volt?
Yeah, that doesn't include only includes the Volt. This one farmer went in there, he got him a new pickup truck, and he was getting the $500 worth of free options for filing a Schedule F. He was wanting to get the voice commanded GPS system, and his wife was with him, and she was wanting the XM satellite radio. They got in a pretty heated discussion, and finally he prevailed, and they got the OnStar voice commanded GPS system. And they were driving home. She was still mad at him about not getting the XM radio, and told him to go to hell, and directions came on to her mother's house.
Okay, we have Becky Holman. She is the Women's Leadership for Region 5. Becky, would you like to say a word?
Yes, I'd like to thank you for inviting us to this delicious meal, and we have enjoyed ourselves this evening.
Thank you. At this time, I would like for Steve Hanna, Vice President of West Virginia Farm Bureau, to come up, and I would like for John Irwin to come